The Pewtercast is sponsored by huntakiller.com, an immersive murder mystery experience like no other. You can save 20% on your first box when you subscribe by using the code Pewtercast at checkout. And we'd like to thank huntakiller.com for their support of the show. Welcome back to the Pewtercast. Ren, it is time for us to open up the email box and talk about all the emails and everything that people have been sending in. You and I think, have had our fill talking about this Panthers game and about kind of where everything sits with the Buccaneers, at least right now. We're going into the bye week, though, so there's a lot that could be happening here over the next couple of weeks while we have this bye week, so we'll see where that goes. But before we go, we had talked in the last show about how we were just going to kind of combine the two shows and push them together. Well, turns out our conversation for the last show, we looked up when we were done, and it was like really close to an hour. So we're like, hey, we'll just go ahead and split it like we normally do. So if you're listening to this, you know that already.
Yeah,
but
somebody would shut up about the secondary.
Yeah. Somebody else was like, yeah, what about a note that, Deshaun Jackson wants to burn car grapes?
Do you think that's the problem?
I'm just contributing to it.
I think it's the shampoo he uses.
It's a possibility because it runs into your eyes and then it stings and things get a little blurry, but it doesn't get blurry like all the time. So it's only
can ruin your whole day.
Yeah, you should use Purge Plus. All right, hey, listen. We also normally do iTunes reviews and stuff. We don't have any iTunes reviews this week, which is okay because we've had like a lot of iTunes reviews coming so far this year. So for everybody out there who's been doing that, thank you. If you'd like to send in iTunes reviews, we would love to have you do that, especially the 5-star kind. But all you got to do is just go over to iTunes. It's not even iTunes anymore, Rude. iTunes is dead. There is no more iTunes. You got to go to Apple Podcasts now, and you can leave us a review. Rate, review. We'll read it on a future episode of the Pewtercast, and it just helps us get up there in the search rankings. So with that, Ren, let's turn our attention to some emails. We got this one in from our friend D. Mosh, good friend of the show, emails in quite a bit. He actually titled this For the Instant Cast, and I forgot to read it during the Instant Cast. So sorry, D. Mosh, but here it is, right? You'll get it straight up. He says, gentlemen, I'm at a total loss. I'm a lifelong third-generation Buccaneers fan and have a lot of memory in the old memory bank. But for some reason, today is the closest I've been to saying, beep it. He literally wrote that out. Beep it. I'm practiced at taking an L, but this felt like a huge step backwards for the organization. It was like we were in 2013 watching Shiano poo on our reputation. What is this? Is every player and coach ass? Are we cursed? Did the Glazers sign a pact with the devil that guaranteed perennial losing? The cost-benefit is almost flipped.
I think it's the secondary, and I know I haven't talked about this much.
Well, go into that. Explain it a little bit. What do you mean? Because, we spent a lot of draft picks back there.
I can understand because, why this game feels like that, especially coming off, the Saints game.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't that close. We talked about that last spot. Like, it really wasn't that close. And then, back-to-back division games, back-to-back losses where we could have took a huge step forward, been in first place all by ourselves against backup QBs, and we just crapped the bed. But, seeing that performance by Jameis is really what sort of makes you feel like that. Like, this reminds me of, like, Jameis year one.
Right.
Like, when's he going to get it? Like
Jameis under Cutter. This isn't Jameis under Arians. This is Jameis under Cutter. Jameis even under, well, it's still Cutter because it was with Lovie Smith. But, D-Mosh, that's a great way of putting it. It feels like a step backwards.
Yeah. I think I said that last week where the defense, seems to be regressing. Even though we lost the San Francisco game, those first 2 weeks were really, they only gave up one touchdown.
Dude, you came out, I don't remember which game it was, but you came out and fully declared, I want to have Todd Bowles babies. I know I've given you a little bit of flack over the last couple of weeks, but you're like, nope, taking it back.
Yeah, definitely taking it back. Screw that bald guy.
All right, Dimash, thank you for emailing in. Sorry I didn't get that to on the Instant Cast. Our next email comes into us from Steven. He says, hey guys, well, we sit here after another embarrassing week of Tampa Bay football. That's the word. This weekend up here in Canada is Thanksgiving, so I had this game circled since the beginning of the season. Long weekend, family time, a 9:30 game. Perfect, or so I thought. I got up early to prepare the turkey and vegetables. Side note, I didn't know that for Canadian Thanksgiving they had turkey and vegetables as well.
I didn't know
Canada had a Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
He said, I got up early to do that so I could watch the whole game, skip church due to the 9:30 start. I made some breakfast, had a nice hot cup of coffee, anticipated the beginning of the game. And as we all know, it didn't take too long, one pass, before my day was ruined. By the half, I wish the turkey was still alive because I really just wanted to strangle something. I am not a fan of the 9:30 start as it ruins your whole day, not just your evening.
That was emotionally draining that day.
Because you had to just live with it, right?
Yeah.
Even longer. Oh, man. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then you're watching, like, other football, and you're just pissed off even more, like, watching other football or watching
I didn't. I had to go shopping, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, your trip over the Skyway. Yeah.
I wanted to kill Cheryl every time she, like, picked up something that wasn't a raincoat. Like, what are you doing?
She's not around the corner there listening, is she?
No, she heard me, though.
I know.
Like,
yeah, you told me that.
When I yell, like, she can hear me because she's in the bedroom watching TV. Right. She can hear me. So, yeah. Right. Like, yeah, I came out. She's like, you want to punch me in the back of the head? I was like, baby, that's just internet talk.
Yeah.
But
it's locker room talk. It's all. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Stephen Kennedy says, my wife came home with her parents as the game was ending, and she could tell by the look on my face that I was pissed off, angry, and frustrated. I got the turkey in the oven, maybe slamming a few things and muttering some comments under my breath before she reminded me that all my family and her brother are coming for dinner, so maybe that going on a bike ride would be a good thing before everyone arrived. So I went out on a bike ride and burnt my anger and frustration over a 25-mile ride.
Holy Jesus.
Side note, I didn't know that Canadians used miles. I thought they were on the old kilometer system.
I didn't know there was any bicycles in Canada.
Says the bike ride gave me, and now he gets into the Bucs stuff. He says the bike ride gave me time to think about the Bucs and my other losing sports teams, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tottenham Hotspurs. Do the Tottenham Hotspurs play in the stadium that the Bucs played in?
It's their brand new stadium.
We all blame the talent on the field and the coaches, but what about the upper management and the owners? The Toronto Maple Leafs haven't won a cup since '67, but they sell out every game. Until a few years ago, management didn't seem to care what they put on the ice. They were still selling out and had a load of sponsors and the TV money. They were the richest team in the league. And then there was a turn in Leaf Nation, and the fans stopped buying the merchandise and stopped supporting the sponsors, and that was management's wake-up call, and they turned it around pretty quickly after that. They still haven't won anything, but there's always next year. The famous saying of Leaf fans everywhere. I'll take your word for it, Stephen. It says,
I didn't know there was coffee in Canada.
Do you know they also have THC up in Canada as well?
What's THC?
It's weed.
Oh, why would you say that?
Dude, 3 Dead Trolls in a Baggie or Arrogant Worms. Look them up. And all our Canadian listeners are like, yeah, at least the ones over in the funny province. Yeah, go look them up. They're awesome. 3 Dead Trolls in a Baggie.
What is it?
It's a band. It's like it's one of their little local bands up there. Another band called Arrogant Worms.
All right.
They're fun. You'll love them. Particularly a song called The War of 1812. Anyway, he says the Bucs are the same. TV right. I'm going to play this song at the end of tonight's podcast.
Okay, because
No, I'm not because it's going to piss off
people. When you're in charge of the music, I'm like, these songs are terrible. And when I'm in charge of the music, you're like, these songs are terrible. Like I play the Knight Rider theme and you're like, wait, you're ruining my show. I play the Knight Rider theme. It's like, so I don't know if like I can trust you saying that, 3 trolls stealing shoes.
3 dead trolls in a baggie
of shoes.
How could you not love a band with that kind of a name? Seriously.
Because that's not the way I judge music.
Anyway, well, they're you'll like them. They're good. They're funny.
Quit telling
really
me I am because
no, damn it, Ren, you will like them whether you like it or not.
All right, fine. Catholic school again.
The Bucs are the same. TV rights, merchandise, sales, sponsors is where the money is made, not ticket sales. So not going to the game doesn't really hurt management. So not supporting sponsors, not buying merchandise is the only way to improve talent on the field. Just like the other chronic losing teams, management will throw us a bone to show us they're trying, but it is never enough, or it is enough to keep us thinking there's always next year. Once they see the bottom line change, then we will get the talent to win the Super Bowl again. On a positive note, we had a great Thanksgiving and family, and your podcast show is always great. Even Ren's solo shows. Please keep it up. It's the only positive I have when it comes to the Bucs right now. I'll try to call into the Instant Cast show as I have a cool story of how I became a Bucs fan up here in Canada back in the 80s. Once again, guys, great work. Nice to have a place to vent.
Yes, it is, and you're welcome. And congratulations, Vernon Hargraves. You ruined Thanksgiving in Canada.
Stephen, I really do want to hear this story now because I'm very, very interested. And I also want you to tell Ren that he will like the arrogant worms as well. Anyway.
But here's a little pushback. I don't think the Bucks are they're not the Clippers of the NBA. The former Clippers where he was famous for just taking the TV money and all the money and not paying anybody and not putting a team out there, and just, he treated it like a business, and he treated it like a big corporate business. I'm sure everyone's been out there or worked at a place where it didn't really matter how good or bad you were at your job. You got how many hours you got was decided by corporate, that was sent to an email to your manager, or maybe you were the manager who had to divide up the hours. It's like you get 40, the guy under you gets 40, or the person under you gets 40, and you have 160 hours to split up between the rest of your employees.
Right.
And that's that. Why? Because that's what you did last year, and all that kind of junk. So I think the Bucks are, you can't say the Bucks aren't trying. You really can't. There's an indoor facility, their training facility is great. They've got 30 assistant coaches.
The Glazers have spent some money on this team. And we consistently hear that their training facility, Advent Health Training Center or whatever, is among the nicest, if not the nicest in the whole league. Raymond James Stadium, for however old it is still a fairly nice stadium.
They keep updating it, paying a lot of money to update it.
Yeah. What's this last renovation, like $70-some-odd million or something like that?
I don't think they're the only one paying for it, but but still, I don't find the owners as cheap owners, and I know there's sort of a subsect of Buck fans out there that blame the owners for what's been going on since old man Malcolm died, but I don't you see what happens in Washington, where the owner has his fingers in everything. And then you have our owners who don't have their fingers in anything. And well, they don't know football. Well, it's not their job. Their job is to walk to the mailbox and cash the check.
Right.
Take the check out of the mailbox and put it in the bank.
And I think you can definitely say this too. If the Glazers didn't care about the Buccaneers winning, would they have continually turned around and fired coaches so soon?
Yeah.
I don't think they would have.
And they kept paying them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's why. Yeah.
I don't. They would have just been. I don't care. Win, don't win, whatever. Keep coaching. They're looking for a winner. The Glazers are. They really do want to win.
They do.
So, I think the biggest, if you were to give any kind of criticism of the ownership, it would just be, hey, you don't know how to pick a GM, or hey, you don't know how to pick a coach. I don't think you can question their desire to win, or their willingness to put money into the team, or to get the team what they need, or because tell you what, you haven't heard about any other team going over to London this year with all this sports science crap.
Well, we don't listen to anybody else either, though.
Yeah, but we
don't.
Still, it's true. It's true.
Still.
All right, next email comes into us from Daniel. Daniel says, "Hi, I'm a UK Bucks fan. I have followed the team since the Super Bowl win. Please, please, please get a new quarterback."
That's the end of the email?
That's the end of the email.
All right, I can understand. I feel you. I'm not going to argue against it. You're just not getting it this year.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, it won't happen this year.
And hopefully, as Buck fans, since we're all going down together, we're not all in this together. We're all going down together. Hopefully, by the end of this year, it will be, how am I trying to say, very evident if Jameis is the guy or not. Right.
And some would say it's evident right now.
Right, but
now's not the decision time.
Well, but it's dumb to do it now because it's a whole brand new offense.
Yeah,
you're trying to learn different stuff, and I don't know. It's just so hard with him, like you said. You can't blame all the losses on him. Some of them you can, but when the defense is giving up 30 points a game, no one else has to put up with that crap.
Right. Javier writes to us, Ren. Says, "Hola, amigos." I was going to try to do this in Spanish, and I'm not going to. "My name is Javier, and I am a Bucks fan." Hi, Javier.
Hey, Javier.
Says, "Every night after the Bucks loss, I listen to the Instant Cast, and I tell myself, call and share your feelings. But I just couldn't do it this week. It would be a total waste of airtime in the phone line because at this point, I honestly don't care enough to pay attention during the Bucks game. After the first play of the game, I knew it was going to be a long day ahead of us. If we score, I didn't get too excited. We get dunked on defense. I say to myself, it was expected with this soft-ass defense. What else is new in Bucks world? I only had 2 positive thoughts about yesterday."
Thanksgiving in Canada.
He says, number one, having the game start at 8:30 a.m. for him and finishing before lunch made it possible for me to actually enjoy my Sunday. Well, there you go. That's different from what we've heard so far.
Yeah, ruined my Sunday.
Right. You know what, though? I guess if you stop paying attention to the team and stop paying attention to the game, that's the mitigating factor.
Did you see the real Bucks Talk guys?
No, huh? What happened?
They put out like a 15-minute instant reaction video, and the game was still going on.
Oh, really?
They're like we went upstairs, like screw it, don't care, like, and then they did like a 15-minute reaction video during the game.
Yeah, I gotta admit there's
or I should say pod. Not
there was a point probably about midway in the third quarter where like I got up and did some laundry. I didn't pause the game. I went and refilled my drink. Didn't worry about stopping the game. I just it's I get it. You just kind of if something would have happened, I would have come back and
Not me. I'm locked in, but I do sometimes like I have to like go outside and smoke.
Do you pause it or something?
No, we don't have that. We have the broken jailbroke Fire Stick. So so we pay for a live TV service that's like $15 a month.
Yeah.
But you get like every channel under the sun.
Gotcha.
And I mean like internet. Like I can watch cricket like all day long if I want to. And all the live sporting
for our next
podcast. Yeah, so like you can find NFL Network, like all that stuff is on there. So anyway, well, what I'll do is I'll pick up my phone and through the Bucks app listen to Gene.
Gotcha.
And then walk outside and smoke a cigarette, pace in the yard, throw my hand. Like I can imagine like my neighbors looking at me through the window as I'm pacing, like going like throwing my hands up to exasperate as I'm talking to myself, freaking chain smoking like a drag. The first time I had to go out there was when they didn't review the Christian McCaffrey touchdown. It's like all touchdowns are reviewed, and then on the broadcast they're like, "Well, we got word that they just didn't decide not to review it." It's like, what? It's like, what? Like all scoring plays are reviewed. It would have been a hard one to overturn, but but I think that it was a gift that it was one of those things. If they said he was down, it wouldn't have got overturned, but he scored and it got overturned. So it's not the reason we lost, that's for sure.
No. Javier continues, number two, talk about a beautiful stadium. I spent most of the game fantasizing about our franchise having a beautiful stadium to call home. Sadly, Ray J for me is a subpar stadium for a professional football team. After all, this was a home game for us. I'm going to disagree. I like Ray J. I think Ray J is fine. I think Ray J feels old. I think it feels dated, but they have updated it. You know what I mean? Like when you look at the new stadiums.
The outside feels old. The inside doesn't.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like the obviously I have club seats, so I see the club section of everything. And that's really nice. Like what they've done up in there is real nice. And then inside the stadium with the ribbons around and the new video boards and everything, I do like the stadium. But I will say, when you compare it to say that Mercedes-Benz stadium that they have in Atlanta, they just built, the one up in Minnesota, the one up in Minnesota, Jerry World down in Dallas. A lot of these new stadiums that are like super, super huge and super, super, nice and expensive. Yeah, it doesn't compare to those, right?
Super.
Tottenham, whatever.
The Spurs.
Yeah, but listen, I tell you what, they're not gonna build a bigger stadium until we start, filling this one up.
Yeah. Is the Spurs mean something different in England?
I don't know.
Like how napkins a servette and rubber's an eraser and a lift is an elevator.
Yeah, I don't know.
So okay, I'm just wondering because like for a I'm gonna say football team,
right.
Like Spurs is kind of a.
Yeah.
I just think it's a weird name for a soccer.
Hey, anybody living over in England? What are the Spurs? What are the hot Spurs? What does that mean to you guys over there? Email us in to thepetercast@gmail.com.
It is hot Spurs. Actually, I don't care.
I do now that you brought it up. Now I'm curious. All right, Javier finishes up. He says, "I feel 2 weeks until our next game is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because we get to regroup and watch Bucks football and want to watch Bucks football, but it's a curse because 2 weeks of this game will be the last images we have of our team. There are my final thoughts. I don't think I'll be hanging my fanhood anytime soon, but damn, it sucks right now. As always, go Bucks, and thank you for listening. Next AA Bucks fan meeting is scheduled after the Titans game, 10 p.m., youtube.com/thepetercast.
Thanks for sharing, Javier.
Yeah.
Here's your chip. Here's your 5-year chip.
Here's your 5-day chip. Next email comes into us from from Neil. Neil says, hey, Peter Cast, this Bucks team is killing me. I feel like we need to do what the Dolphins are doing, and we just need to blow this crap up and trade everyone. I don't think this is the job for Bruce Arians because we've seen how the Cardinals became what the Cardinals became after he retired. Thanks, Neil in Tampa.
All right, Neil, thanks for writing in, and everything you wrote is wrong. Next email.
I wholly agree with you, Ren. Yes, Neil, thank you for writing in.
I don't think you're dumb. Do be any fandom you want to. Maybe you're just blowing off steam. I get it, but everything about that email, I just disagree with. So I shouldn't say it's wrong, even though it is. Mm-hmm. I disagree.
Yeah, no, I in no way, shape, or I don't back what the Dolphins are doing right now in Miami either. Like, and I'm not even a fan of them. Like, I don't. But I do have a question for you though.
Sure.
Because I've had this question in my head. Bruce Arians goes into Arizona, turns this team around, and then has a couple of down years. But we've talked about how like there was a bunch of injuries or there was something, and even some of the media guys were like, "Hey, this actually might have been Bruce Arians' best coaching job given everything else that was going on around him."
Yeah, down years as in like a winning record.
Still a winning record, just not playoff stuff or whatever.
Right.
But Bruce Arians leaves, and the Cardinals turn into the worst team in the league for a couple of years now. They've been, or at least among the bottom. They've joined us. So what does that say about what Bruce Arians did or built in Arizona? The fact that as soon as he leaves, they just completely fall apart.
Yeah. Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah. What does that say about what Bruce Arians is doing or building?
It's one or two things. It's like, we got to see who left with him, though, and, what was going on and players. It's all about how you win or lose, Brent. No, it depends. I mean, but that's why it's also so frustrating because I expected Bruce Arians to be one of those coaches that could turn the stuff around and sort of these dumb things that would, Bucks beating Bucks stuff would go away, and we'd be competitive just because we quit making these stupid mistakes. I'm not even talking about Jameis interceptions. I'm talking about holding penalties or
three false starts in a row,
time management issues, like, and all this stuff that has not really gone away, and we seem to be the same team we were before he got here. So, sort of this Midas touch that he's had. And again, I'm going to cling on just like all the other idiots out there. That's not true. I should say that. But all the other people out there are going to cling on to like, well, he was 3-5 in his first 8 in Arizona. Yeah. I mean, but he already said there's more talent here. Yeah. And I think something has to do with when he got to Arizona, the Niners stunk, the Rams stunk, and the Seahawks they're pretty good. But, you got to play, it's like being the Patriots. Right. It's real easy to win 10 games when you start 6-0 every year. Right. Because you get to play the Bills, the Jets, and the freaking Dolphins twice a year. Right. So I don't know. I just don't agree with it. I mean, it's hard to say that Bruce Arians was a problem when you leave and the team takes a nosedive. I figure logically most people would think just the opposite. Like he was the person holding it together. Right. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I am still gonna say I think 6 games. All of that stuff that you talked about, we expected Bruce to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to say we haven't given him enough time to see if he's doing that. Like he could be in the middle of doing all that right now. It's true. And moves are being made almost weekly. And they are. So we'll see. All right. Next email comes into us from Paul. He says, hey guys, Kentucky Paul here. What up, my Kentucky brother? It says, for me, the shine has worn off on this coaching staff. The tentative play calling lost the Giants game. There have been numerous game clock management issues over multiple games. I don't see them living up to their promises preseason. I still can't get over BA saying the secondary was totally fixed when we hadn't even played anybody. And finally, I don't see enough people holding the special teams accountable for the games that they've lost. It's a rebuild, not a reload. Yeah, it's that reload thing is something that you could really only say in college because a lot of people leave and then you got to bring up the guys that are behind them, and it's reloading with in a professional team, like guys are there longer usually. So I never really got that thing. I don't think there was one Bucks fan who believed BA 100% when he goes, oh yeah, now it's fixed. Like it was just one of those lines that he said to, I don't know, pump up the team or let these guys know he's behind him or whatever. It was coaches speak. So and I've heard that every time now sort of that the narrative is caught up to, what I've been saying for a while. Not that I'm taking credit, but, I keep people going back to that quote, week 1 in training camp, he said the secondary is fixed. That was like 3 months ago. And you're holding the guy to like, a 5-word quote. It's, I just really don't get it. So, what else was there in the email? Sorry.
Talking about the game clock management, not living up to the promises of the preseason.
I don't
tentative
really
play calling.
Yeah, tentative play calling. You could say that caused us the Giants game, or the defense giving up 18 points, letting Daniel Jones score 4 touchdowns. I mean, you could put it on that too, I guess. It's just, I get it, man. It's a frustrating year. I'm right there with you. I don't think there's just one thing you can really point to, except for
the secondary.
Oh, there you go. Good call, Brent. Glad you finally agree with me.
The pool's nice and warm. Please tell me you haven't been peeing.
Okay, I haven't been peeing.
All right. Final email.
Already?
Yeah. Comes into us from our good buddy Chris. Chris from VA by way of Alaska. No, from Alaska by way of VA. However that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Chris.
That's something you have problems with.
Yeah, I never. He doesn't actually put it in his email. He just says it's Chris from VA. Anyway.
Yeah.
He says, Peter, guys. He says, number 1, you mentioned on the instant cast that Winston isn't consistent. The whole team the last 5 years is inconsistent. The O-line is inconsistent and doesn't play good or great every week. The defense is horrible under Lovey, Mike Smith, and outside of the 5-game win streak in 2016. The kicking game, do I even need to get into it? Yes, Jameis, he lost us games, but he also put us in a position to win many times, and the team gave it up. See the Giants game, the missed kick. Many types of those games we have had. Yes, I think we've covered that. Number 2, the secondary is garbage.
Yes.
I think we have covered that. Now he says, VH3 is not the guy we thought he could be. Might just be a solid nickel cornerback, but the Bucs aren't going to pay him $9 million next year to play slot. No. Davis doesn't even turn his head around to make a play on the ball, which usually means you're getting beat.
Yes.
Number 3, why is Rojo not in the game plan more? 4 carries is atrocious.
Idea, Chris.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I liked Dare as a third down back because, like, when I saw him in training camp, he did okay picking up the blitz. Like, none of them are great at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when he would catch the screen pass or the dump out pass, he would always make the first guy miss. And all of a sudden, he's turning to Charles Sims. He catches the ball, he turns around, and he freezes. And he goes, "Which way should I go? Oh, I'll go this way," and then he gets tackled.
Right.
Like, I don't think Rojo's pass block, well, maybe his pass blocking is, but I don't know, man. It's just like when you got you want to do this 2-headed monster with Barber and Rojo, and then you got, Dare as your third down back, and he's getting like 3 times as many snaps as your 1 and 2. And he's not what you're losing from the passing game. I find it really hard to believe you're making up for it in pass protection.
So I'm not in any way, shape, or form disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to put myself in the mindset of the coaches as to why they did it that way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying why. Because actually, Chris says exactly what you just said, Ren. He's like, I don't care if he can pass protect or not. Let him run him and then throw it to him. It's time. Jameis threw over 50 times this last game, or maybe exactly 50 times, something like that. That's a lot higher than what we've seen him throw in any other game so far. I think they only ran the ball like 14 times or something like that. Like, it wasn't much in the whole game. This was one of those games like we saw under Dirk Cutter. We got behind. We started throwing the ball a whole lot. And we haven't talked about this. I'm not saying this excuses even one of them. But even Bruce Arians says, listen, if you throw the ball 50, 60 times, you're going to throw some damn interceptions.
Yeah.
He said that during a Sweet Holders conference or something here in the offseason. Well, guess what? Jameis had to throw the ball 50 times, and guess what? He threw a couple interceptions, more than a few. Not saying it excuses it. However, if you get yourself into a spot where you're playing from behind and you're going to be throwing, you put your best pass protection back there, because you're not looking to necessarily dump off to your running back. That's your third check down or something, third, fourth check down. So
right now it should be the second.
Okay, fine.
Seriously, this is something that I sort of talked about in the Instacast where it's like, and a lot of people are talking about this, like, why you keep throwing these, long developing deep routes. They tried to throw screen.
Yeah.
He still couldn't get the ball out.
Right.
And you can't throw a screen from with like a 3-step drop. It's a 1-step pop-up. What they should have done is went pistol or shotgun and threw screens out of that. But they didn't do it. So what was your question? I'm sorry. Like,
no, I didn't have a question. I was talking about Dare, about putting Dare in because if he is of the three guys,
right,
if he is your best pass protection block, back.
I'm back. I'm back. Well, the reason is because I felt that if you're going to scheme around that, you needed to use screens and dump off passes, which they tried. They should have dropped back in the pistol, should have dropped back in the shotgun to give Jameis time. Because when they saw he didn't get a time, they just sort of abandoned the whole thing instead of thinking, hey, let's get him further away from the line of scrimmage. So you don't need that pass protection because now you're going to go short. See what I'm saying? And then you can get the ball into space into players like Rojo or Barber. And if you don't trust him in pass play, this is another thing I didn't understand. There was like no rollouts called. Like he could barely get to his spot and look up without getting hit or having to move or run for his life. Like move the pocket. Like they didn't move it. They didn't move the pocket at all. It was not. It was one of those things where when you really think about it, you're kind of like, yeah, that's an inexperienced play caller, or that was a bad game plan, or they didn't adjust quickly enough, or enough at all, or adjust at all, because it wasn't what the offensive line was able to do against the Panthers was not conducive to what they were trying to do on offense, and you just had to change it up. Like, your guys are your guys. This is what's happened in this game. Adapt and fix it, and they didn't. So that's why I would say that having Dare in there, if you're going to run all these vertical routes all the time and use Dare in there to be your sixth offensive lineman, one, he's really not that good enough. Like, he's not, not that I'm a huge Quiz Rogers fan, but I only saw him miss like 2 blitz pickups in like 2 years, and I've seen that. Dare probably did that in the Panthers game. It's got to the point where I've seen them all miss. I've seen Rojo miss. I've seen Peyton miss. So I sort of understand where they're coming from, but you need to get your playmakers on the field, man. You need to get the ball to your playmakers, and that's period, end of story. I mean, that's sort of football 101, and I'm not trying to say I know better or I know better or more football with these coaches, but it ain't working.
Yeah, whatever they're doing ain't working. Hey, they got a bye week. That's the good news. They got a bye week to look at it, do all that self-scouting stuff that they do, and fix something. Number 4, JPP coming back should help with a more consistent pass rush. Teams aren't going to be able to double Barrett, Villa, and Sue anymore without taking 3 tight ends onto the field. Maybe that helps the secondary. Not really sure. I can definitely see Bowles being able to bring more creative pressure with JPP on the field.
Yep.
We'll see.
If he comes back, believe it when I see it.
Yeah, there you go.
No offense.
Because who are you going to trade out? Or are you just going to keep, what are we going to do? 5,
There's rumblings of moving Barrett inside as a stand-up over guard. Or you could do it with JPP. Like, there's going to be some things you're not thinking of. Like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. Type of deal.
Number 5, Devin White was fine, not calling him a bust. He played well despite not having played in a few weeks. He will get better as the year goes on. He's a rookie, but he's our first round rookie.
Yeah.
So
I'm not discouraged. I did not obviously love his pass protection or pass coverage.
Yeah.
I think he led the team in tackles.
He did.
So, I mean,
but he's the middle linebacker. He's supposed to lead the team in tackle, right? Like,
did Kevin Minter lead the team in tackles?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I bet if he didn't, he was like number 2 or 3, fairly consistent. So I think Jordan Whitehead led the team in tackles a few times. Best of the worst. All right, number 6.
But that's what he was asked to do. Actually, he was sort of like that in the box money backer that was making a lot of tackles, at or near the line of scrimmage on running backs.
Matt Gay made all his kicks again.
Did
both of them? I think it was just 2. And number 7, his final thought: I hope Dotson is back sooner than later. Wells got worked over. Watford's just a guy. Kappa should be back by the Seattle game. Yeah.
Okay. We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
It's pretty sad that you're hoping that Dot's back,
I was just thinking that. I was actually thinking, dude, I want to say that out loud. Yeah, I was thinking that. All right. That's it, Ren. That's all our emails for the night. So,
all right.
That is everybody. All right, guys. Hey, listen, I will be happy if we never have to talk about this game again, Ren. All I want to talk about now is what changes the Buccaneers are making, what they're doing. I don't care to speculate on what they're doing. I don't care to pontificate on what I think they should do or believe they should do. All I want to see is what they actually are doing.
They should trade Vernon Hargreaves for 2 first-round picks.
That would be, yes. Yeah, they should do that. And then trade Bradley Pinion for package that with Cam Brate and a 3rd-round pick for Jalen Ramsey, who just went to the Rams.
Yeah. And then we could get the guy that you smash your hand on top of his head and his foot comes up, kick field goals.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Punt the kickoff, do kickoffs.
Right.
Remember that old 70s toy?
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. We'll just have we'll have Ryan Smith bang his head as he runs by him for the gunner spot, right?
I don't think. Yeah, I would rather have Ryan set.
Oh,
I don't want him running. I want him have a good base to get as much power as possible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll just put Ryan Griffin on the field to do it then. Just
you can only have 11 guys.
let him suit up. All right. Well, but we're taking the kicker off, right? Does that guy count? Does he count?
Yeah, that is the question.
Would he count? Yeah.
Wow.
This conversation has way gone off the rails.
Does
Ren?
a guy made of plastic count as an 11th man?
Ren, hey, listen, real quick. Typically Friday night, you and I would get back together. We'd record our typical Buck in the News show. This being the bye week, we were talking about it kind of before we got recording tonight. We're going to kind of play this next several days by ear. It depends on what actually is happening.
Right.
So you guys stick to it. We may possibly do some sort of an instant cast type call-in show, maybe. So you guys stick to the Twitter feed. We'll let you know exactly what we're doing as soon as that all happens. It just really sort of depends on what happens here over the next few days. If the Bucks really do anything, they've released 2 players already, and who knows what's going to happen. I think they're just doing that to make room for people coming back from IR. I don't think they're bringing in anybody special or any big names. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. But you guys stay tuned to the Twitter feed. Ren, speaking of Twitter,
yes,
tell the folks where they can get a hold of you on Twitter.
Best place to find me is on
Twitter.
At Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football. That was terrible. Can I redo that? DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football. Buccaneers football. Total leather. Buccaneers football. Not soccer.
And if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook. Email us in, just like so many of your friends did, to thepewtercast@gmail.com. And like we said, guys, stay tuned to our Twitter feed. We'll let you know what is happening as far as the rest of the week goes. We may get together, may not. We're not really sure. We'll see how it goes. But guys, until next time, the Bucks have the week off. So here's what we can definitely say, as we say every year about this time. At least we know the Bucks won't be losing this weekend. Go Bucks!
You see, Vernon Hargreaves started a GoFundMe page.
For what? His retirement account?
He's trying to buy a Clue.
Oh my